It's your show now, so what's it gonna be? 'Cause people will tune in. How many train wrecks do we need to see before we lose touch? Oh, and we thought this was low. Well, it's bad, getting worse. So where'd all the good people go?
We're going to go to Jamie's property and take a look at some of the landscape problems she says. See, you got here, this should tell you which walk to go to. And you get to here and you can't see which door they want you to use. Isn't that interesting? So the landscape should set it up so that it's more clear to you which way you're supposed to go. Because you saw me stop. I don't know which way to go. Typically the main door they don't want you to go to, but go to the main door.
Where'd all the good people go?
That's all. That's all set up with landscaping. Which way? And one walk is skinnier than the other. One looks more formal. I don't know. This looked to me like this is a door they wanted me to go to.
Did you ring the bell?
I do. Hi.
Did you
How
ring
are
the
you?
bell this morning?
To answer your question about keeping the loam from slipping off, is that all good material? Is it leaves and you put a geogrid in and you plant it and the roots grow into the thing in the edge? It goes nowhere. I use geogrids on walls if I'm building a wall so that it gets the area behind the wall to reinforce the wall.
Yes.
So that holds the wall from slipping against hydrostatic pressure. But use it here, simple. Besides that, if you mulch it and you put in the root systems of any native material, anything you got here is going to tend to hold the grass. I wouldn't give this a second thought as far as holding it.
Okay.
That isn't an issue.
Yeah, this is my hospital, so I can dig all these out.
Yep, I figured that. So that just pops up.
Yeah.
So you could bring the grade up there. You could plant over here if you wanted to. I don't like that elevation to plant in. And that's one of the famous questions, how much loam? All right? When you figure out the width
Yeah.
times the length,
I have no
I'm
idea
going
in
to
the
tell you,
world.
because you go everything.
I have no idea in the
If you
world.
end up with it 5 foot across, and you end up with it 20 feet long,
Yeah.
that's 100 square feet.
Okay.
And if it's a foot deep, that's 100 cubic feet.
Okay.
And there are 27 cubic feet in a yard. 25 into 100, 4 yards.
Not much. It's not much.
That's the system to give
Yeah.
you cubic feet
Okay.
to cubic yards.
Okay.
Because you buy everything in cubic yards, usually. So that's 4 yards.
Okay. And
So
where
for-
would it start? Down at the rock here, or?
Yeah, we start. This is all a little odd. I always thought there should be kind of stepping stones in here. I know you're not going
Wouldn't
to
that
do
be
that.
lovely?
I felt, I didn't say anything to you, but I felt as if that's a natural, that could look nice, even if it wasn't really used. That could be interesting. But regardless, having said that, it would start right this side of here if you don't do something here first with a
Would you have
walkway.
to grade that, or what?
Huh?
What kind of work would that be?
To do what?
To grade that, put stepping stones.
I put natural stones down, flat walking stones, and I
Yeah.
put it on concrete basins, buried with dirt around it with ground cover. You wouldn't even know it's holding.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. I don't see that that's an easy thing. It's easy when you get to here. Oh, that's easy. And you put a stone right there. Here you got to put a little dab of concrete for a stone there, and just go down there with natural stones. And that just seemed that was a no-brainer to me. If you're going to be here, at this property where 10 years ago, when you had a long time you're going to be here, it's a great place for rock garden plants. Oh my God, the fun you could have with saxifraga and different stuff that would just take the needed dry, they needed great drainage. Drainage is everything, and this is it. So would have been a fun place to throw in rock garden plants. And everybody tries to do them and fails miserably because they don't have this. They don't have that. So you had it. Regardless, come in through here about 4 yards and level it off as best you can, then be level, and plant in that if you wanted. This doesn't take away from the fact that that's an eyesore. And this bothers me, looking at this naked like it is. What is this? This isn't good enough. You asked about a wall, and that's why I came over. Because you talked about building this up a bit, didn't you?
Yeah,
I thought you were saying that.
yes.
Yeah. And that's what I was trying to look at.
It would make this less of an eyesore, I thought.
It would reinforce it, there's no question. That, by the way, that wall wouldn't have to be very high.
No.
That's it right there.
And then the brush growing on the other side of it would be lovely.
Or either side, or this side. And as far as this is concerned, when you put in herbaceous plants, anything herbaceous, or that you cut down to the ground in the spring, like that Himalayan indigo I talked about, you cut it down. I don't care how much snow.
Even the plow, because I mean, he's plowing right up, look at the gravel.
Well, the idea, I hate to tell you this, but I know about plowing also.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no need to make a big federal case out of plowing.
Okay.
Plow it over. Grow up, learn how to plow. Because
Okay.
I would not be scraping the crap out of it. I'd be coming over and moving everything this way, move it this way.
So I'll
If you
just
put
put
a
up
wall
those, I'll just put up those stakes so
I don't care if he uses the area,
Yeah.
but more gingerly, and understand this plant material. Bring your plow blade up, or whisker.
Okay.
Simple to do.
All right.
And once it starts freezing anyway, everything kind of stays frozen under that little bit of frozen ground, you know, usually, and then you just go over it. And it's not, you have to be so careful after that. So just go over it. I don't want him hitting the wall anyway, so you have to put stakes so he absolutely sees the wall for that worst case huge storm that you can't see anything in front of you. So you see a stake. And that makes sense too.
Okay,
So I can see that either way is my point.
So here's the thing, but, okay, so if I went back to planting in the gravel though.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't need the wall. We could almost do 2 layers. We could backfill the loam,
Yeah.
plant here and plant down there.
Oh, that's true. There's no
and
question
then
about
just
that.
clean off all these loose rocks here.
I think the thing was wrong with this.
Okay, help me out.
I
really.
just say the truth.
Yes, it's awful.
This is there's no town of all the towns I've worked in, and the best towns in the state I've worked in. There's nothing as picturesque and has the opportunity Cohasset does. No town I've worked in, and again I've worked in them. And what they do is they rationalize in this town, and they don't spend the money to capitalize on that great natural thing that they have in this town. I've seen it forever. And this is a condition that there's no town I've ever been in that would put up with this wall. It is such a
Horrible thing.
such a horrible thing, and not to mention in the town as nice as
And
this.
this was the builder's home.
Yeah, so somebody at some point would have built a wall here, a real wall.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting a real wall here at this point in time, but this is really a blight on this property.
Yeah.
This
I
doesn't
know,
make sense.
I know.
You know it,
I know.
but it's not one of the key things you run out and you have to do, so you didn't. But to answer your question, even if I had the plants here, and I, let's just say, had to sell this place in the winter, plants aren't going to help you any. The wall, that little wall, that would, what's the word I'm trying to say?
And make a statement.
Make a statement, thank you. So you make a statement that we wouldn't even look at this. We don't care about this because
Yes.
that wall does a nice job.
It's a visual.
Yeah, and it can be a one-face wall, not a two-face wall.
Yes.
And what do they get, 50 bucks a foot? Cubic foot? 50?
You have to tell me, I don't know.
Again, this is important. It wouldn't be, you know the difference between a dry wall, the difference between a dry wall and a wet wall?
A wet wall cement in
Sure,
between it?
it's built with cement, nothing's dry. Or you can do a combination, whereas this would be definite because there's not enough wall here to screw around with. It'd be a wet wall inside, wet in the back, probably
really
totally,
needs to be,
and the
otherwise
front
it's
looks
fall.
drier.
Yeah,
The front looks dry.
yeah.
So that's how I would do this wall. That's 60 and 50, 75 feet of wall, which would then be about 1.5 feet wide, be about 1 foot high. Dry on the inside, it would follow grade, nothing fancy on the other side, because it will never be seen, and that would frame this end of the property, which currently it isn't. It looks like a different property than the property we just walked through. Then they talked about putting a plant in here, not to get fancy because plowing happens anyway, and put in Indigofera, which is Himalayan indigo, and put them that far apart, 6 foot apart probably, and put them right here in the middle of this thing. They die down in the winter, come back every year. They need terrible soil, they need it dry, they don't want water, blooms in the middle of summer, late summer. That's how you can try to do this, if you could find Himalayan indigo, which used to be available, now not so much. But anyway, if that wall were there, Himalayan indigo here, she could put plants on the far side of the wall, 4 yards of loom builds it up enough so there's something planted in, not concerned about reinforcing it, not that severe a grade. Could get a tray of Pachysandra, Vinca, anything simple, nothing fancy down there, and hold the edge anyway, even if you didn't use the reinforcement material. There you have it. We looked at this the other day, the first time, and I was told that the tennis court's in terrible repair. For whatever reason, it was probably not backfilled and not prepped subsurface well enough. I did a tennis court in Milton, in that area a lot of years ago. We had to go down 12 feet to get away from organics, and then come back in 6-inch lifts with vibratory compactors to make that base solid enough to put a tennis court on. That didn't happen here, clearly. And so roots sunk in this hole, and it's old and needs conditioning. The town is charging these people $2,500 or something like that a year for taxes. For what? It's not even used and it's not usable. Take out the tennis court, put in a child's play area here. Kids, soccer, badminton, any sport they want really. You could keep a certain section hard here for ping pong if you wanted on the end. So the more you look at something and challenge ideas, come up with different thoughts on it. Ping pong here if you wanted. Any of the volleyball, lacrosse, great practice place. You keep the fence, that's keeping the ball in. Great place to play. Really significantly improves the value of this area. I think the taxes go away then. They should if you don't have a tennis court. So, and the state flies over this once or twice a season and sprays the area for mosquitoes. So it may not be quite as bad as it would be otherwise. It's a free program the state has. So there you have a tennis court that day passé, it's not used, it's all done, terrible condition. And the rationale really is to remove it and use it otherwise. And the first thought was to get rid of the fence and everything. And the more I thought about it, I would keep the fence. That I would myself. But then again, it depends what the client wants, how the person that owns the house is going to use it. Maybe there's rationale to remove the fence and not use a play area. And maybe this will be an English garden with parterre and so forth. I don't know. Depends what they want from it. But it's a 5-bedroom house, and so given to lots of kids, this is to me a no-brainer. The cheapest thing to do is make it a play area, put a lawn in with irrigation.
You might notice some hesitation